Is this it? Like, this is what it feels like to get to the top? And I knew at that moment, I knew that there was something more that I had to do. This journey of recognizing that, wow, this corporate thing is not really me. I was put on this planet for something far greater than that.
You really are a champion for women's wellness, and you care so much about women.
Strongly that I was put on this planet to inspire women to connect to themselves. The whole path led me to where I am today, which is doing exactly what I hope to do in my 20s, but I was never brave enough to do it. Knowing that healing journey took a lot of tools and methodologies, and that it was really hard to do on my own, I think that's where I, in turn, wanted to help other women do the same.
Aloha mamas, and welcome to the CoronaMama Zoom Room. This show is brought to you by the Maui Mama magazine, and we are here for you, the Maui Mama, to help you to connect and express and share all those things that are on our minds during this pandemic time. Our motto is #share aloha, not corona. I'm Angeline Chu Longshore, and I want to do a quick pandemic gut check with you mamas. Okay, tell me this. Since the pandemic, have you been feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, guilty about feeling guilty, anxious, stressed, or stressed about feeling anxious and stressed? Well, I am right there with you mamas, and you are part of a large club, actually. We are all feeling these things. And, you know, this is what psychologists are saying. They're reporting that the coronavirus is harder on women and even harder on moms, as opposed to how it's affecting men. And so that's because, think about this, in normal times, we have this unpaid workload, right? And that is caring for the kids, cooking, cleaning, all that stuff, school stuff, everything that we're normally responsible for, right? But then there is the emotional, mental workload that we have too. So those things like sensing whether your child is doing okay with distance learning. If they, we have to think about those things. Do they have the right mask? Are they feeling comfortable with that? All these little things that are just sitting on our minds, like that we have to carry. So we are the backbones to the family, right, mamas? But who has our back? I don't know. I mean, really, we are such independent women these days that we just think, okay, I've got to do it myself. Got to just push through this. But you know what? We're in pandemic times, and it's not easy even in normal times. Normal times, we're already like overloaded and stressed, right? So now we're like quadruply, exponentially, as they say with the spread, we're exponentially overloaded. And who has our back? So I talked to a woman today who is telling us that, we really need that support. And it's going to be a really great show, talking to her about how she found that support through her journey when she was a corporate woman and successful, and there was a turning point for her. But before we do that, I want to tell you that if you're a pandemic stressed mama and you need professional help, well, I've got something for you. I've got a 20% discount link for onlinetherapy.com. Okay, it's not just a chat with a therapist. It's actually a complete toolbox, which includes a personal therapist for sure, activity plan, worksheets, journal, live chat, yoga, and more. So just click on the link on the Maui Mama Magazine Facebook page show notes to get that 20% off. Okay, so for you moms that are working moms who need help with childcare and distance learning support, well, you're going to want to watch this Actions of Aloha segment. So the Maui Family YMCA has been able to expand their distance learning center, which is now being heavily funded by the CARES Act, thanks to the mayor and the county of Maui. They've now expanded their full-day program to the War Memorial Gym in Wailuku. They have Wi-Fi, and they also have a limited amount of devices that you can ask for if you need one. The YMCA staff is there to help your child with tech issues so they can attend their classes online, and they're there to help. They also make sure that they adhere to all the COVID-19 safety precautions. And here's another great thing. They get socially distanced playtime with games and activities. How great is that? The program is for K through 5th grade. They're open 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Okay, and get this, it is only $20 per week. Yes, you heard that right, $20 per week. But there is a wait list. This is all being funded by the CARES Act. That's why it is so inexpensive now. But there is a wait list. So just to let you know that they will have openings possibly in November. But sign up now, because if they know that there is a greater need, they might be able to get more funding for it. So sign up, all you mamas who need that. Okay, and I just want to say huge big mahalos to you guys over at the YMCA. You are always adapting to the needs of the community. So thank you so much. Okay, mamas, here's some family-friendly furry Halloween fun for you to get in on. This haunted cat mansion contest by the Maui Humane Society is challenging you to make your own homemade cat mansion. Post your comments on their Facebook page posts starting October 11th at 5 p.m. Okay, now for our main segment. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, almost 50% of people in this country say their mental health has suffered due to pandemic stress and worry. And mamas, we think of ourselves as independent women, that we could just do it alone. Well, actually, with female support, we are stronger for ourselves and our families. So that's what we're talking about today with our guest, Lulu. Let's bring her into the Zoom room. Hi, Lulu. Welcome to the CoronaMama Zoom room.
Oh, thank you, Angeline. How are you today?
I'm really good. I'm so glad you made it here. I am so excited to talk to you because we're doing this pandemic wellness series, and I know that you have a lot to share with us. So why don't you introduce yourself to us and tell us about you? You're a haiku person and around town, and what you do in Maui, and what you do professionally.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. So aloha. My name is Lulu Agan, and I am known as the Chief Officer of Bliss of Swell Women. You can normally find me at Okipa surfing. I'm a total surf addict, and out of the water, I love yoga. I have lots of wellness practices. I love connecting with my friends and playing with two dear boys on the island. I'm friends with Michelle's son, Reese, and Anjali's son, Akash, and we spend a lot of time together. So I get to tap into that whole inner child thing.
Nice, nice. Well, you know, we're talking with moms here, and we're all going through this time of, we're in the pandemic, we are home a lot, or we're not in our normal routine. We're, you know, maybe not doing all the things for wellness, self-care, all these different things that maybe we could have been doing. So that's why I wanted to talk to you. But I was looking at your background and how you just have so much that I'm drawn to.
Oh,
I mean,
thank you.
You know, I mean, you've been teaching, doing surfing retreats for women, yoga, cooking, wellness, all the things that I love. And your whole thing, it seems, when I looked at your website and heard all about you, is that you really are a champion for women's wellness, and you care so much about women. So tell me about that. Where did that come from? What's behind?
Yeah, I think I was, Angeline, I think I was born with it. I feel very strongly that I was put on this planet to inspire women to connect to themselves. And I mean, this goes back way beyond ages, but when I was in the corporate world, I also, as you know, have a huge passion for cooking. And so I even inspired women in Chile when I lived abroad to learn how to cook. And they were moms at homes that in Chile, you usually have nannies and they do all the cooking. So it started then, and then it stemmed into launching some of my own businesses, but always maintaining that that passion in the kitchen and inspiring and teaching people, mostly women, how to prepare really healthy meals that can taste beautifully. And so that launched into my private chef career, where I was teaching clients how that food doesn't need to be compromised, that healthy food doesn't need to be compromised. Was a private chef for 10 years. which required a lot of travel, which I absolutely love, but long hours. And so that kind of came to an end in 2016. In 2014, I had the opportunity to purchase Swell Women, which is a wellness and travel company, and launching retreats. It's a Maui-based company, but we took the retreats and launched them internationally. So going to fabulous destinations, including like Sri Lanka and Indonesia, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and the list goes on. And so that was really my opportunity. Instead of working for other people, I was working for myself and really captured the essence of what my soul calling is. And that's to inspire women like yourselves to really connect to yourself and show you that it is possible to carve out time, even if it's 5 minutes a day, to really tap into your beautiful essence, and to show you through the arts of surfing and yoga how to connect to yourself and how to face the ups and downs of life, and how to show up and shine every single day. And so that's what I do with Swell Women, and in my wellness coaching is really it's inspiring and empowering women to connect to themselves. And I know as moms, that's super hard because you're so busy and torn in so many different directions. But I have so many moms that have come on retreat. And when you carve out that time, I promise it's an opportunity to have more energy to show up as your best self, and then be your best mom, right?
Swell Women is about connecting women from all around the globe to reconnect with themselves and also with other girls with similar passions. It's always surprising to know that many people come because something in their lives have given them a wake-up call, and during the retreat they've really had time to reflect instead of just being caught up in their everyday busy lives. What I find amazing is that each and every woman that attends this retreat inspires me to be the best version of myself. Every day I'm reminded to follow my bliss, and I hope that the end result is that each guest also in turn follows their bliss. It's really quite a mind-blowing experience.
I want to know a little bit about, I want to back up to maybe there was, for you, I'm imagining there was a defining moment because you were in corporate, you said. So
Yeah.
you're in corporate, and how does a person in corporate get into surfing and wellness? And so what happened to Lulu back then? What was happening that made that shift? Was there something that happened?
Yes, actually there was, Angeline. There was a moment where I was in the corporate world and I was a go-getter for sure. And I think, if I can't remember the exact age, but let's say it was around 34 years old, and I hit the top where my boss offered me vice president of all of Latin America.
Whoa.
And I was in the real estate industry, business real estate. And it was that moment where I sat there, and inside I was like, wow, this is everything that I've ever wanted. And but then there was this other side that was just like, is this it? Like, this is what it feels like to get to the top. And I knew at that moment, I knew that there was something more that I had to do. And even then I was coaching and inspiring even all my sales managers and everything to be their best. But I knew there was more. So that's when I had the opportunity to move to Spain. I lived in Spain for 7 years. And that's when I launched and became an entrepreneur. I still stuck in the real estate. So I kind of, used that as a gateway into the real estate market in Spain. I had a real estate company, and it was a way to connect with people and make their dreams happen as far as their homes, their dream projects, things like that. So that was really, really fun. All while using this opportunity to create a retreat center. And so in Spain, I bought a property that I could convert, and it was always my calling since my 20s. It was crazy to really launch something that was in the wellness industry, inspiring people to connect to themselves. Well, that's a really long story, Angelina, and I'm not even going to go there, but that turned into one of my rock bottom moments that had me absolutely to the ground because I lost everything. The project that I bought, the refurbishment, um, the whole project went to ground zero because of some infrastructure issues. And it's a crazy story. But anyway, I'm not going to go there.
Okay. Well, what I want to know is what draws you to women? I mean, you were doing real estate, you were the top of your company or that company, and you felt drawn to women in wellness. So what is it? What was that?
I think it's my own personal journey, knowing that when, so back in my 20s, I was the person that, this is a little bit woo woo, but anyway, I was the person that my dad would be proud of. And going through this journey of healing myself, you know, I mean, we all have baggage and stuff. So this journey of recognizing that, wow, this corporate thing is not really me. I was put on this planet for something far greater than that. And so through my own healing journey of really tapping into the truth, my truth, what I want, what my heart desires, and knowing that the whole path led me to where I am today, which is doing exactly what I hope to do in my 20s, but I was never brave enough to do it. Knowing that healing journey took a lot of tools and methodologies, and that it was really hard to do on my own, I think that's where I, in turn, wanted to help other women do the same. Even as moms, I mean, I recognize that, you know, if you're the moms out there, that becomes the number one duty, right? You're showing up for your kids. But in that, you can get lost. I mean, that's a lifelong journey right there that takes, wow, at least 18 years of full-time dedication, right? So then where do you come in? And so you start identifying yourself as a mom, but what happened to Angeline? Right. And that's where, even as a career person, my whole identity was becoming the VP. Right. And I lost who I was, like that.
Right.
I only identified with that.
And that your dad would be proud of that, but it really wasn't you. That wasn't the you that you felt inside. I think that's the thing, is like, in where we are in society as women today, you know, we're told you can do anything a man can do, you know, and then we go down that road, and it's great. I'm not saying it's great. We go down that road, but then if you're not paying attention to what's in here, then you end up older and going, what happened to my life? Where's the joy?
Exactly.
If you're not connecting with really the true thing. And I'm not saying that every woman who is a career person is doing the wrong thing at all. It's that if you're not paying attention, and you were paying attention, you had that inkling inside of, there's something more. There's something more, you know?
That's the words. It was like, there's something more. There's something not like, that was an amazing journey. And I mean, if we had all the time in the world, there are distinct chapters in my life. And all of them led me to Swell Women and really teaching and inspiring and empowering women to tap into the person who you really are and carving out that time, because it's so important to take care of yourself, because no one's going to do it for you, right?
Yeah. Well, what impresses me is that, okay, so the things that you learned along the way that you're bringing into Swell Women are the person that could, you know, get to the way top of her field. So you're bringing that excellence into it, whatever mindset that is, whatever tools that takes. And then you're taking all the pieces from that journey to sort of disassemble those things that I think people tend to think are the thing. But to actually say, you know, how do we get from where we think we're supposed to be to where we really in our hearts want to be? And that's the magic that so many people don't know. So many people don't know how to get, they're like, okay, I think I know how to get to that thing that I think I'm supposed to be. It's a very clear path of actual steps, but that other bridge is the innocuous stuff that now you actually know how to break down and teach women.
Yeah.
To me, that's just like, whoa,
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps right now.
I know. And you do it in not really you do it in all these different forms of like surfing retreats and different kinds of things through what I think as women share, like loves for connecting. And when we're in the corporate world, we forget about that. And I'm sure you moms at home, whenever you get together with girlfriends, don't you say we should do this more often? Right? All the time, because that's this innate thing in us, and I'm like getting chills too, and chicken skin, whatever, like, cause that's the innate thing that we have forgotten when we're in that corporate world. And then when we get together, we're like, oh, this feels so good. And the fact that you can help people to take that bridge, get to that place, and create a connection with themselves and the woman stuff in these retreats, that is just gold. I mean, it's just gold that so many people don't know how to get there. So tell me about what it means to you to be able to take a woman and describe what that process looks like.
Ooh, okay. So I think with the retreats, so when you think about retreats, it's the guest is already saying, I need to do something for myself. And usually that's driven. We do have an abundance amount of women that come for a reason. It's a big birthday, a shift. They're going through a career change, a death of a family member. There's so many reasons. They're a mom and they don't know who they are anymore. They're an empty nester. So many reasons. And so the fun aspect of surfing and, I'll try yoga, and just traveling to a fun destination lures them in. But when actually they get there, they're like, oh, wow, right? This is an eye-opening transformational experience that happens. And I break it down really simple. Like, first of all, the guest already said yes to the experience. So they're already showing up. They've already had that calling. And so when they show up, as a mom, for example, you're disengaging from everybody and you're allowing that 6 to 7 days to really tap into your own need, wants, and desires. And so first we start with, surfing. Surfing is a hard sport, Angelina. Yeah. It's hard. I learned it at a late age, and it's been a super long, now it's like 13-year journey. And it's hard. And going out in the ocean, what we've noticed, I mean, not only with myself, but with many, many guests, is that there's a fear of this big body of water, right? And so there's this control thing. There's like, wow, I can't control that. So it's triggering a lot inside. So first we address that. Now, the waves are constantly changing, just like life, right? We have the ups and downs. And what we're doing is we're empowering you to ride the energy, to meet the energy, the external energy, meet it and ride it. And the only way you're going to do that is to lean into fear, to breathe, to connect to yourself, and know that you have everything inside you to do just that, to ride that wave. And it is, oh my God, it could just make me cry. When I am getting emotional. When I see women that ride that first wave, I'm like,
just us. Yeah, it's just us women here.
Wow. Yeah, wow. I know. It's so amazing. And then we take them out of the water and we put them on the mat. And that's all about connecting to your breath, right? It's the one thing that we forget to do, is to just, when things are crazy or even calm, the more we connect to the breath, the more we connect to life, and we can ground our energy and take that energy and use it to calm our kids down, to feed them, to do what we need to do, to muscle up the energy, to feed your newborn babies, all of that kind of stuff, right? It's about the breath, just opening up the body. And we really focus on more of restorative yoga, because I really love the yin and yang balance. The yang of surfing, so high energy and everything. And then we bring them to the mat, and they want to keep going because a lot of them are like, I have my Fitbit, I want to meet my steps. And I'm like, no, right now we're just going to chillax. We're going to do like really hold the poses long. You're going to be fully supported. And when you start melting on the mat, that allows for also emotions of everyday life to surface. And then we have the component of the empowerment coaching. And this is the part I love. We don't spend a lot of time. We probably spend 15, 20 minutes on certain exercises that really empower you to find out, to dig what's going on inside, leave you with tools like journaling, gratitude practice, meditation, things like that, that allow you to go home and continue diving deep into what your own needs, wants, and desires are. And so people leave feeling really, really refreshed, transformed, and they take that home and they have the testimonials from hosting retreats for 17 years has been amazing.
I can really see how the ocean, surfing for many on any level, whether you're already a practiced, somebody who practices and does it all the time, and yoga, coming to that and the personal growth that meets them at that opportune time when they're open, when they're ready, when they're saying, yes, I'm ready for something. And then you facilitating that and taking them through the up, like you said, and then the down in the yoga. And there's so much that's released amongst women that we can't release on our own. Like if we tried to on our own, it just would not come out. So then meeting that ocean, that nature that causes things to conjure up, and then helping guide them through that, and then letting it settle, and then letting those emotions surface when it's quiet time. That I could just see is something that we could never do on our own. That and then having the support of like the circle of women to just let it go and to see the same in each other, and to like be vulnerable in that place with women who are just supportive. That is such a beautiful thing. Wow. I can imagine.
It's so fulfilling. It's unbelievable. And then, the whole wellness component, it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do at home? Like, what can you do for yourself? How are you feeding yourself? We talk about, I was certified with the IIN, and we talk about primary food and secondary food.
That's
primary food. A lot of
integrative nutrition in New York, if people didn't know.
Yes, and we talk about primary food and secondary food. Well, secondary food is the food that you put on your plate, right? The food that you're eating, the nutrition for your body. Primary food is all the other areas that are feeding your life. Spirituality, physical movement, career. There's actually 12 areas. And we forget about those things. I mean, to be whole, to be complete, we have to look at all aspects of what feeds our life, mind, body, and soul. So we take a very holistic approach in everything that we do. And I love it.
I love the idea that it's feeding us. That is all food, spiritual food.
Yeah.
I think a lot of moms, we go through this thing about like, my body, blah, blah, blah. And we think about diet and, like, it's almost like restraining ourselves from nurturing and joy, because we're trying to like get back to some idea of what we were supposed to be when we were like young and healthy, whatever that was. And, and so like, this is taking you to a whole nother place of mindset of like, not restricting and like being stern with yourself, but more like, no, we need to feed, nurture, find the joy,
Absolutely.
Bring it in, with all these parts of our lives. That is a really cool shift in thinking. I love that.
Yeah, I call it living your bliss. So we talk about bliss a lot because Joseph Campbell, follow your bliss. That quote is used so much. And it really gives us kind of our, theme is to like live your bliss, find out what makes you happy, what's joyful, because at the end of the day, that's what life's all about, right? If you are not if you're not experiencing joy on a daily basis, then we've forgotten about the primary reason for living, right?
Mm-hmm.
You touched on so many things and I love it. I love how you talk about the holistic approach. And we do get caught up in thinking how our bodies are supposed to look. But when we take it as more like, this is my physical body, I'm this, this spiritual being having a physical experience in this body. And if we can separate ourselves from the way we look and focus more on how we feel, then we're one step ahead of so many others, right?
Yeah, I had a question that came up in my mind when you were talking about bliss. I love it. We all want to find our bliss and follow our bliss. What is the thing that you've seen with the women over the years that is the thing that stops them? Or is there a thing or a set of
Yeah,
things?
there is one thing, and I've identified it in my own life, and it's only one thing, and it shows up in many, many different forms. It's called fear.
Oh, okay.
Fear are the obstacles, are the things that get in the way of achieving even the simplest things as cultivating a yoga routine or um, showing up for ourselves or feeding ourselves or knowing that healing journey took a lot of tools and methodologies, and that it was really hard to do on my own. I think that's where I, in turn, wanted to help other women do the same. Learning how to surf, right? Fear stops us in so many different ways, and it shows up as obstacles, excuses. I can't do this because. And that's one thing that we talk about a lot is how to identify those fears that are getting in the way of living your bliss and how to overcome them. What can you do? Because fear is really a frame of mind. Most of the time, it's not true at all. I know. Like, even with surfing, the biggest fear ever, right? I go out and I'm looking at literally, I call them now double over ankle waves. And I'm like, oh my God, that is huge, right? And now I look at it with a different frame of mind. It's like, I can ride that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just about reframing it and turning it into something like, if you really want something to happen, you have to identify what is getting in the way, whether it's finding a babysitter, finding the help you need, reaching out to, your husband to get him to cover the 30 minutes you need to go to yoga, or whatever it is. That's one of our key secret sauce things, is teaching people how to overcome fear.
So it sounds like you help them break down the things that they believe are in their way. And
Correct.
then you examine each one of them and say, okay, let's look at that. If it's real, it's real in their mind, but if
Absolutely.
there's something that, for them to realize, is this actually a truth? And then if it is, or if it's not, how do we shift that, problem solve it, find a reason, find the thing that will get us over that thing that you're saying, the reason that you can't. And
Exactly.
then, and that's a lot of steps, a lot of work to get through that. I can only imagine you need to have support with to
Yeah.
really look at these
And
things.
so Michelle, my business partner, Michelle Mihangos, is my business partner in the wellness coaching component. We looked at the ups and downs of our lives, our rock bottom moments, our moments when we're not committing to ourselves, even for, physical exercise, for example. And we came up with a little formula that works. And it's super simple, but we call it flipping the switch. I can't tell the formula, but
Okay.
I know. But it's really interesting because it makes it so it's easier to be like, oh, because what happens when we're in fear mode or we get things blocking us, it's really putting us into the fight or flight mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we tend to run away from it because we don't have the time, or whatever it happens to be the thing that's getting in the way. And when you have a formula to follow, it becomes easier and faster to help you get through those moments. And I mean, there's lots of teachings out there about it.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you teach that to women along with all these environments that they're in and they're doing. And
Exactly.
it's usually a week that you're in person with them when you.
Yeah. So we do
pre-pandemic?
most of the retreats are 6 to 7 nights.
Wow. And they're in beautiful places usually, right?
Beautiful. I mean, Hawaii being one of them, of course. They're more upscale. I love the boutique retreat environment. So we really try to create a sacred space for women to show up, not intimidating. So I kind of think of myself and what I need, right? And I prefer smaller groups. So we don't do more than 10, but most of the retreats are actually probably between 5 and 8 people. So it's really a great opportunity to connect with like-minded women who like nice things, nice food, nice everything. You know, we throw in a spa treatment and things like that. I know, it's so good. It's unfortunate that this, that we can't travel right now, but yeah, they'll soon we'll be doing them again in person. So
right. So when the pandemic happened, you switched up things, and you had to, and you still had this need to take care of women. So what have you done?
Oh, that's it. So last June it was, I had this calling to create I wanted to have a further reach, because I'm like, okay, I'm reaching women that are on retreat, but maybe there are women out there that, they don't have the time to be able to travel or the money or things like that. So I wanted to further the reach. So that's when I went to Michelle and I said, I have this idea. Are you on board? And it was to launch an online course. So our first online course ever is called Where's the Bliss? And it's a 6-week online journey. And we really tried to make it so it would be kind of like a retreat, but also keeping busy women, moms in mind. So we kept it to 30 minutes a day. And we broke down everything that we've used in our rock bottom moments to help us achieve our dreams, Wow. And so that was step one. Okay. And that launched last October. So actually before the pandemic. But now I understand, like it was my intuition, which when we follow the breadcrumbs and actually have, we had to muster up a lot of bravery in that, because to do videos and go into the whole technology. I mean, that there's a lot of people out there, fear of speaking in front of the camera and things like that. I mean, it took a lot. I was like, oh my God, this is
that if people don't know that, how to get comfortable in front of the camera. So that's a big deal.
Oh my God.
And the technology piece is a big deal too.
Super. So that was our first, but following the intuition, I'm so glad that I did it, because just having that program available, in January we ran it, but in April, June, and now in October, we're helping women at home now, which is just such a great feeling that we can have that reach and inspire. I mean, so many people, including you, I'm sure, have experienced in some form the things that are going on with this whole coronavirus. I mean, it's insane, and everyone is experiencing change and uncertainty. And my heart goes out to everyone that's, it's rough. And so that, just the course itself, but then I kept asking, like, okay, first of all, I have to share that for the first time, I was experiencing a rock bottom moment. And I actually, at the time, was living in Costa Rica. So for the first few months of the corona virus, I was in Costa Rica, because I was actually going to a retreat in El Salvador to teach. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, I'm just going to stay put, because the US sounded like it was blowing up with the virus and everything. I was like, I'm safer here. So I stayed. And during that time, I was calm. And I don't even know how I'm calm right now. It's crazy, because, my main income stream was the retreats. And so I've had to pivot big time. But I have a tool belt, and that has helped me so much. And I'm like, before it was like practice runs when I lost my whole dream project in Spain, and when I lost my mom. These are like big rock bottom moments that everyone's going to experience at some point or another. And so I tapped into the tool belt, and I just kept grounding through my own self-care practices. We call them bliss care practices. And through that, I was able to ask, the higher bees or whatever, what is needed right now. And through that, both Michelle and she tuned into helping moms with the whole cooking thing. And you talked about that last week. And then for me, it was about, okay, what could I do to help people just get in touch with themselves. And I've launched a lot of free programs to do just that. So I know that it's a lot though, because a lot of people are like, I don't have the time. They're overwhelmed right now. I know a lot of moms are doing homeschooling and and working from home. And so there's a lot on your plate. And so I have a lot of compassion. And if there's anything I can do to help, my God, I'm here.
Well, that's one of the things that when I saw this program come up, I thought, wow, this is actually what a lot of moms and women in general need right now. I say women because we're more emotional creatures. And I know personally, I've had a lot of anxiety since the pandemic hit because we feel so much for everyone and everything. We take on a lot as women, and not that men don't care. They do. They have a different way of dealing, but we take on so much because that's just innate in us to care for like the tribe, the community. And so we're going through a lot right now. And I just think that when we have something where we can step up and take what we know our genius is and to do that and to put it out there as something that will help the community, whether it's our close local community or the community further out from the islands or the world, it's putting something out there that is going to be like, it's crucial right now. It's crucial. And whomever can take advantage of it or not, that's up to them. But the fact that you're actually even putting it together is a huge thing, because if we don't step up in this time when there's such a need for so many different things, and each person will need something different, that will fulfill something for those people that need it. And right now, there are so many women that don't even know what they need. So that's why I feel like putting this out there on this show to say, you know what, you mama at home, or if you're not a mom, even if you're dad, you might need something that you're not sure what it is. You're feeling anxiety, you're feeling a little lost, you're feeling like the uncertainty is getting to you, to come back to yourself. And maybe your old practices are not working, because that is happening for a lot of people. They're going to their yoga, they're going to their journaling or something, but maybe you need it with some guidance. And most people don't really think about looking for that until they see something. They're like, oh, okay. So that's why I thought, okay, this is something that is really cool that's happening, that you're putting this out there. And then I looked at your retreats in person. I'm like, oh, this woman knows what she's doing for women. She really knows. It's not like, oh, we need a little self-care, let's go journal. But like, there's so much more that you have experience with women for so many years that you bring to this to help people through. And so in this time, mamas, you might need something like this. I'm not saying that you do, but I know some of us, it's a help to have a program. And even if you are busy, this doesn't take a long time. I think that's the thing that gets in our way. It's like, oh, I don't have time for that. But if you do the little thing that's guided self-care or self-bliss or whatever you want to call it, then you'll have more energy for your family. You'll have more energy at work and things like that. And I think that needs to be said, that, like sometimes I see programs, I'm like, oh, okay, someone's doing that, whatever. But knowing what's behind this, knowing where you came from, and that you can, as a successful woman, I know you can condense things down into a half hour for the golden nuggets that need to happen. And that's a success-oriented mindset that I think some people don't know those tools. Like you're talking about the tool belt. Those are the tools, mama, that she's talking about, is that she can take from her experience and create these little systems for herself in this tool belt that you can use within a short period of time. And the only reason why I know that is because I've done it for myself in different ways, where we create systems for ourselves, and other people haven't been able to do that. They've been in survival mode and they're just doing. So that, to me, I'm thinking that's what's here, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, your external factors are going to be constantly changing, always. And we happen to be going through one of those rock bottom moments right now. I mean, God, as a collective, we're all like, wow. But what we're trying to teach is that there is this, we call it the bliss line, right? Your ledge, and you're trying to show up where you're calm, grounded, you're able to face the challenges that you're faced with every single day, and do so feeling good, right? So we can't change the external factors. All we can do is show up as our best self and deal with them the best we can. And so we're trying to teach you to tap into that inner strength, the knowledge, because really everything, all the answers reside within you. But when you are feeling chaotic showing up to the plate, that's when you're not going to probably be able to reach those things. I mean, I have a classic example of when my mom was dying. And I mean, oh my, I had to show up for my dad, my mom, my companies, all these things. I was being pulled in many different directions. And as moms, I know you know what I'm talking about. And we tend to abandon everything that keeps us healthy and whole and vibing, right? We abandon those quickly. It's so silly. And so what I'm trying to teach and inspire every single woman to do is to go back home here inside, and know you got to find that energy. You got to carve out the time to take care of yourself, to breathe, to exercise, to feed yourself right. That's a start for sure, right? And we have lots of different things to show you, different things that we've used. And, you know, some of them are going to resonate with you and some might not, but it's just taking that inspired step, taking that action to come home to yourself. And that's going to allow you to be able to gain energy, just like Angeline said, gain the energy you need, the motivation you need to be able to show up as your best self, and then and that allows you to show up for others in your best capacity. And it only takes 5 minutes a day.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what does this program look like as far as time commitment? Because a lot of times people are like, oh, I can't really envision myself in a workshop right now, or so what does it look like actually if somebody is in it?
So, I mean, like with the 6-week course, which is called Where's the Bliss, that is a 6-week start date, end date. I mean, we're in one right now. It just started actually today. And that's 30 minutes a day. So you're logging into our beautiful platform. You're doing, there's like an educational component, a 5-minute meditation, a 5-minute journal action. And then we encourage you to get moving and grooving in your body because we know that makes you feel so good. And then there's group coaching and other programs we have, like Get Good at Living is a 30-day challenge. It's a mind, body, spirit challenge. First, starting with nutrition. So really taking the time to reboot, cleanse, rid the body of the toxins, because the stress has triggered cortisol in your body. I mean, that's huge, right? And so we want to get back to our optimal self. And so we do that through nutrition. And then during the challenge every day for 5 minutes or less, you log in and you get your daily inspiration, and then you decide whether or not to use it or not. So that's pretty fun. But we're teaching all about like gut health, how to reboot, the essential ingredients to reboot. We encourage you to eliminate the trigger foods, just so you can reset. And then 30 days, it's over 30 days because that's how long it really takes for change to happen. And it's kind of like microdosing it every single day, right? Instead of just going on a 5-day huge, I'm going to go on a juice cleanse, which is quite intense, right? We spread it over time. We make it more sustainable. And we're really trying to inspire you just to tune into your body and your own needs, your own, like, does this food serve me? Gosh, if you've cut out gluten for a month and then you add it back in, you're going to have some sort of reaction to it, whether it's good or bad. If it's bad, then you know that doesn't serve you. So it's just teaching you how to tap into yourself. Other programs are really short, like Michelle and I have a 10-day detox. We have a sugar detox. We have lots of tools. We have a optimize your sleep email campaign. So lots are free, some are paid. The Get Good at Living is completely free, and that's a 30-day challenge available now, and you could start anytime. I know Michelle has the Time to Cook with Your Family, and she's incorporated some women coaching for moms in there, which is great.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
really
there's
nice.
lots of different,
Wow, you guys are so dynamic in all your, so many programs. That's so awesome.
We're trying, because we know everyone has different needs. So if we can lure you in with something, then hopefully that's going to inspire you to take a mind, body, soul approach in your everyday life.
That's so awesome. Well, I do want to find out more about those programs, but before we do that, I want to do something fun, if you're okay with it. I want to do a lightning round of questions on your own health practices, because, you know, I just want people to know that even though the expert people who know everything, they're human too. So
totally,
you know, so I just want to, like, with the caveat that she's human. So we want to know, you know, what it is that you do so that we can see, okay, you know, even though she knows she might have these human little, you know, things, but then she'll get back to it. And I think that's the key thing. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right.
I'm nervous.
What is your, no, it's not hard. What is your favorite healthy breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Okay. Favorite go-to breakfast is definitely a meal replacement smoothie. I absolutely love it. My lunch tends to be another smoothie, or I love salads. I'm a big salad fan. But I usually don't have time to eat. So for me, I know that if I have my meals replacement smoothie, that I'm getting the nutrition I need throughout the day. And then at 4 o'clock, I unwind and I really dedicate it to cooking. I've made this a promise to myself that I detach from the electronics. I head into the kitchen. It's super therapeutic for me. And I actually have the honor of cooking for not only myself, but for my housemate and her son. So I'm getting him interested in food too. And I love creating really whole, healthy meals using whole ingredients. So they can be in forms of salads, soup. I mean, there's tons.
So just something healthy, and it's usually early. Yeah. It sounds like you eat early. And
it's really delicious. Yes, I do tend to eat more around 5:30 because Hawaii, we end up going to bed super early. I'm a dawn patroller for surfing. So I like to give my tip to any women watching is to give yourself 3 hours before bed. So try not to eat any, you know, try to cut. So if I go to bed at 8, I really should be eating by 5.
Okay. Wow. That's early, but
yeah, I know it's terrible, but I also wake up at 3 or 4.
Dawn patrol is super early.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So where's your favorite place to buy groceries and why?
I really love Mana right now. I love sourcing as many local ingredients as possible. We also use a, delivery farm service thing. So my thing is about sourcing locally. That's my number one go-to. And so Mana seems to have the biggest selection of products.
I guess it's an in and out kind of thing. You can go in, you're getting a lot of local ingredients, which
exactly.
is great. And it's a locally owned place. So
yeah,
that's really cool.
But I have heard that there's a farmer's market that I should go to every Saturday. So I'm going to check that out because that would be super fun too. I hear of the one up in
it's nearby
Kula,
me,
right?
Yes, it's in Kula, and it's awesome. Yes.
All right, I'm going next week.
Great stuff. You'll have fun. You'll spend an hour at least, I would think.
At least.
Okay. So I probably, I think I know what the answer to this is, but what and when is your favorite type of exercise and why?
I love surfing. Because it brings me, there's nowhere else you can be when you're surfing. There's no action list going on. There's absolutely nothing except for focusing on your breath, the water, the waves, and then connecting with that wave and riding it. And my God, it's the most blissful thing I can do.
Is there anything deeper than that? Like that, I'm just thinking like something drew you to surfing and it stuck with you. What is that?
Yeah, it's the exact same feeling I get from meditation. Yep.
You just get lost.
Exactly. You just get lost and all of a sudden everything on the external world melts away and it's all about connecting to the breath. and nature. The surfing component does that, but with meditation, I do get the same results.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many hours of sleep do you need and what do you actually get?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I am definitely an 8-hour girl. I know my body needs that. I have gone through the whole menopause thing, which is crazy. And I was only getting about 5 hours of sleep, and that created a lot of havoc in my life, which led me to doing some research about sleep. Sleep is one of the most important things that we can possibly gift ourselves. And so I work at 8 hours, and I've done a lot of changes, made a lot of changes in order to make sure that I get at least 7, but optimally 8.
So you've really worked.
But it's been a work in art. Yeah, it's been like a 3-year journey, but I finally nailed it. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be sleeping now. Thank God.
I'm on that journey to figure things out, to arrange my life. I'm committed to it now because I know how important it is.
Oh my God, that's when we heal. Yeah. So earlier I mentioned, not eating 3 hours before bedtime, even 4 is better. That time when you're sleeping then isn't focused on digestion. It's focused on actually healing your body. And there's so much healing that happens when you sleep, from stress, we're eliminating toxins, all of that. So it has to be a top priority. And for mamas, I can't even.
If we're thinking about aging,
yes,
like to repair.
Yes, aging to repair. I know that it has lack of sleep can trigger weight gain. It's crazy.
That's what's happened for me, because during the pandemic, I had so much anxiety, and I've never had trouble sleeping, that I was now having trouble sleeping. I still kind of am, but I'm figuring that out now, like to really focus on doing the things to de-stress. And part of that is in the last show that I did, or the last before last, was with the microbiome researcher. And so that, if you watch that show, you can see how that has to do with so much of stress, anxiety, working on our gut health. And you know that, Lulu.
Yes, I do.
So it's just it's a journey for all of us. And then during the pandemic time, if your mom's wondering, like at home, why am I having a hard time sleeping and gaining weight and stuff like that, it's all connected. Yeah.
All connected for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let me move on here. Do you have a meditative or calming practice? Well, we know, but, and what is that?
Yes.
What does it do for you?
So I've been meditating for years, but I've made it a daily practice, committed fully daily, every single day for at least 5 minutes a day. And so I use Insight Timer. There's apps out there that really help you keep accountable, because they keep track of your time. And sometimes I do silent meditation, and sometimes I do guided meditations, and the apps give you an array of whatever you need. Like, I need to go to sleep, and pull it up, and then it's helping you go to sleep, and all these things. So I meditate at least 5 minutes a day, but mostly more, but that's my minimum.
But daily, that's great.
Every single day,
awesome.
Every single morning, without fail. I call it my non-negotiable.
Cool. Wow. So disciplined. That's so good.
But I also know, Angeline, I know the benefits, and when there has been a day where I missed it, and the contrast of how my day unfolds is crazy. So I know that keeps me accountable, knowing that I'm setting myself up for a productive day, a more productive day.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know that. So
good to know. Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, here's a good one. If you have a guilty pleasure, when it comes to anything like eating or whatever it is, what is it, and how much do you allow yourself to indulge?
Okay, I have a lot of guilty pleasures, I'm going to admit, but my absolute number one is dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate. And there are many, many benefits about having dark chocolate. So I indulge because I give myself dark chocolate, 70% more. I go super high quality. So, and usually now I'm like up to 88%. And so it's not so guilty because
Right.
they're actually reaping a lot of benefits from the chocolate.
Not as
But
much sugar and 88%.
I allow, exactly. And I allow myself 2 squares a day. And I have to say, there are days when I don't have it, but most days I have 2 squares. And I try to eat it as slow as possible, letting it like melt on my tongue. So I'm fully enjoying the experience and I have no distractions. I like sit down and I take the time. Yeah, because otherwise, and I've only done this through making mistakes. So sometimes I'll just shove the dark chocolate in my face and I'm like, okay. And then I forgot that I ate it. And so I want to go for more. So I've learned through trial and error to slow it down, to make it like a, kind of a practice where if you're going to have the dark chocolate, carve out the time. I sit there, for a couple minutes and really enjoy it. No distractions, connect with nature, the views, whatever, and allow it to melt in my mouth.
There's so many good things about that, like being super present and mindful and the sensory part of it that we don't always allow ourselves. It's like we're always like in such a rush of our head is way farther ahead than we actually are. Like we're already on to the next thing is what I'm trying to say. And
totally.
So like to have that moment, like that seems like decadent and indulgent in one part of my mind, but that's the mind that's like that hurried woman. That's like not good, So it's like, okay, Angeline, stop the hurried woman thing. Savor the chocolate,
Yes.
And allow ourselves to enjoy. We, as women, and I think any woman like these days, we're so hurried. I don't know why we think that we have to accomplish so much. And so we don't allow ourselves like those simple, 2 minutes. Like how long does it take to eat 2
minutes?
Like,
exactly.
But we don't allow ourselves that.
I know. So I won't eat it unless I'm willing. I won't eat it on the run. I won't, but I'm also human. So there are times when I don't do it, but then I'm like, that wasn't as pleasurable. So now it's like more of a ritual. That's what I should say. My daily ritual.
I love it. We need rituals like that.
And cool. I know some people do it with like coffee or whatever. It's like when you stay present, sipping that coffee and really enjoy it and smell it. Oh my gosh. It turns into a really enhanced experience, I feel.
If you're like, if you go outside with it, then there's another, like adding to the, we talked about the microbiome and like taking in the air and then the pleasure of it. And it just enhances the whole thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm a really sensory person. So I'm just
you can layer it, eat the chocolate, go barefoot in the backyard, walk, meditate, smell the fresh. I mean, you can make it into a full blown, bam, 2-minute experience.
Right. And hurried women, take the time.
Yes, take the time.
Okay. What are the 3 things that you love or that you do to cause joy on purpose for yourself?
Gratitude, for sure. There are days that go by where if I didn't take the moments to really think about what brought me pleasure that day, then they just go missed. And I find that I discover true miracles, even in the smallest things, by practicing gratitude. 2 more things. Tell me the question again.
What do you do to cause joy on purpose for yourself?
Okay, on purpose. The whole meal thing is definitely like it's no longer a hassle. I make it into a fun practice, disconnecting and really fully engaging, preparing the meal, sitting down, looking at it, taking a photo, whatever, and then really savoring it. That brings me a lot of joy because I'm a foodie. I love it.
So and then the decision that you made to make it into a ritual. That's the difference between, I think, just doing and then the decision that's I'm going to ritualize this.
Yeah. It had to happen. And then the third thing I do is definitely even if I can't surf, I try to move, even if it's like a 5-minute spontaneous dance party. There are times when I feel like our energy gets stuck. And movement is going to release that energy. So when you are feeling maybe heightened stress, anxiety, if you take that 5 minutes and even just jump around or pretend you're punching a bag, or put on your favorite song. Just by moving, you're going to feel an energy shift. And your shoulders will start melting, and it brings me bliss. So definitely carving out at least 5 minutes a day for movement.
That's so good. Well, is there anything surprising that you've learned, a life lesson, or like just a short golden nugget that you think maybe most people don't know?
I think everyone knows what they should, could, would be doing, but it's really gifting yourself at least 5 minutes a day to connect inwards and to do something for yourself. I think we know everything we're supposed to be doing. I know, because I hear should, would, could all the time. And I know, like, when I roll out my mat, I might not have the time, and I'm like, I really should be doing yoga. But when I actually roll out the mat and just sit there for 5 minutes, my gosh, it's a gift. And so my takeaway is carve out 5 minutes or more if you can, but start with 5 minutes every single day.
That is awesome. I feel like I just got downloaded all this wisdom. Yeah, exactly. So awesome. From a wellness life coach, yes. Thank you so much. This is so awesome.
Thank you.
So great.
It's been a great pleasure.
Yay.
Great pleasure.
So where are you zooming off to now?
I am going to zoom off to a play date with Akash, who is so sweet. He's a 6-year-old boy that I have the honor of being able to spend some time with. So I get to tap into my inner child. So I'm going to throw on some play clothes and hopefully jump into the water neck down.
Oh, that sounds so good. Yay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been so fun.
Thank you, Angeline. Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Personal journey is an adventure where the turns you take can shift and shape the person you become. Some of our journeys we choose, and some have chosen us. The transformations and trials you encounter, and choose to accept will challenge you. The ups, the downs, and the courage you'll find within yourself to keep pushing through. Your heart is big enough to carry every single one of these memories forever. You'll realize you're so much stronger than you ever thought you were. In your daily life, remember all that you've gained, the energy you've cultivated, a sense of freedom and so much strength, the trust you have in your own self. Each day, each moment, it's a gift. It's a lifelong adventure. We are mothers, sisters, daughters, and wives. And sometimes these roles make it difficult to take the time to remember who we are. Remember, each experience shapes and shifts who you are, who you become, and who you will begin to inspire. When an opportunity arises, you'll be the first to hop on board. Embrace that youthfulness you've found. Enjoy the journey. Because there's no time like the present to really start to live.
Okay, so here's some opportunities to join Swell Women for their support. Some are actually free programs and some are paid. The free are Get Good at Living, a 30-day challenge, the Happiness Everyday course, and then there's the Sleep for Optimal Health email series, and then the Time to Cook with Your Kids, which is less than $8 a class. Such a good deal. Okay, for the paid programs, there's the 10-day Ultimate Detox under $20, and then the Live Your Bliss courses. And I am so excited to tell you, mamas, that these women are so generous. They gave us an amazing discount, a $50 coupon valid till the end of the year for the Where's Your Bliss self-guided program. Go to bit.ly CoronaMama Swellness 50. And I have to say, isn't that just swell? Okay, now to the surf, yoga, wellness retreats, those luxury programs. Look at these. This is Mentawise in March 2021, Mexico in April, Costa Rica in May, and then again in June, Rhode Island in July and September and October. How fun does that look? A luxury vacation with these women. Oh, I want to go. Okay, well, mamas, it is like the end of the year already. I mean, we're so close. It's so crazy. What happened, right? So this is the time of year that the Haleakala Waldorf School does their Michaelmas celebration, which is so like right on the money for like our pandemic time, because it's about facing our fears, slaying those inner dragons. And so I want to show you all these videos and pictures that they did for this year, a very socially distanced Michaelmas celebration this year. So for now, mamas, take care, stay safe, and be well. Thanks for being here. Aloha.